RFE or file an application before the deadline. This is why we offer a strategy session for 15 minutes at no cost to you. Not everyone qualifies. First, you need to speak with our CARES team. We receive many requests, so we recommend you answer a few questions on our website, greencardguys.com. Our mission is to help people live and work in America legally. Go ahead and subscribe below and follow and share. Talk to you soon. What's going on? How y'all doing? Welcome to the show. My name is John Ting. I practice immigration law in the United States, helping you solve your immigration problem and maybe preventing that problem from happening in the first place, folks. And you might not know, but there's a crap ton of problems when it's related to immigration, unfortunately. And some people think it's a piece of cake. It's a walk in the park to get legal status. Yes, filling out the form is the easy part. For some people, not for everyone, but there's a lot more to it. There's a reason why you need to hire an attorney. And that's why I'm here to have that share with you those reasons. Now, today is specifically, at least the beginning topic of the show at the top of the hour. Well, sorry, it's a little later, around 12:30 here now, Central Time, is about the family preference category. Now, we'll talk a little bit more deeply about F2B visa, okay? So let's break that down. So if you have a child or spouse, okay, but you or the sponsor is a permanent resident, then that is the F2B category, okay? This is a family preference. This is not, there's a significant difference in terms of what we call like immediate relative classification or category. Now, to just make it as a quick summary as possible. Step one for both cases, both really any relationship when someone's abroad, okay? Step number one is a petition. That is to demonstrate that there is a relationship, a family relationship, okay? Now, step two, if I'm able to break it down in two main steps, is when you try to obtain the residency. Now, some people, if they're in the United States, then you can apply for, hypothetically, for people who've entered with a visa and stay here and their immediate relative and they're in the United States, you can apply for adjustment of status application. That's the 485. But if you're already in the United States, then generally, if you filed and you're eligible for it, you apply for both forms, both. I said in quotations because there's a lot more forms, but the two main ones are petition and the 485 application. However, if you are a family preference relationship, we don't recommend that you overstay. In fact, we don't recommend that anyone overstays, okay? But there are scenarios that there's an exception where people can adjust status. That's an important thing. If you are a family preference relationship, some people think, oh, I can overstay. Like, isn't the same thing as being married to a U.S. citizen? No, it's not. All right. So, but let me break it down to you. Some of you might, here's a real concern. Number one that I was trying to explain is the failure to maintain status. If your family preference, that could be okay if you're eligible for a waiver, but some of y'all don't want to wait 4 extra years. Unfortunately, post-pandemic, the waiver 601A takes 4 years to process. Well, almost 4 years, 44.5 months. I try to check at least once a month. Okay. But here's a second issue. There's a long wait time for family preference. Like, it is what it is, right? You just have to wait for it when it's family preference. But some people don't know about that. And unfortunately, when you have a family preference case, or even if it's employment-based, you have 1 year to take action to show that you've taken some steps towards obtaining that visa. So the thing you need to know about that is the priority date. If you don't know what a priority date is, you either need a Google search, or if you still can't figure it out, tune in live, follow on your respective channels here, subscribe, okay? Because we almost talk about it every single day. By the way, if you haven't done it yet, go ahead and, drop a question in the chat box. Don't be shy. I'll definitely try to answer it. Roughly about 15 minutes to answer questions. And of course, if I'm not able to give you as in-depth answer as you would like, if I'm able to even answer your question, don't be shy again. Go ahead and fill out our form on your respective platform. There should be a link. Typically, under the profile, my picture of myself, there should be a link there where you can answer a few questions, not too many, and then you can self-schedule a meeting um, to speak with one of our CARES team members. So please know it's not with an attorney, not at the beginning. My CARES team members are gonna pre-qualify you for a strategy session at no cost to you. It could be for the same day to meet the one of our attorneys or later that week. Okay, depends on our availability. Now, one other thing to keep in mind is that we recently had to charge this amount as a hold fee for you because there's a couple bad apples that did not show up to the meeting, and we have limited meeting time. Look, folks, most of our time really is to work on the case. So we have limited time to really have meetings to explain the steps, like I'm doing now, but it would go in more in depth typically. So, anyways, the second issue about family preference is the wait time. So again, the first step was a petition. Now, generally, when it's an immediate relative category where the visas are um, unlimited per se, then the wait time is average 6 to 12 months. Yes, in 2023, marriage cases to a U.S. citizen were getting approved in record times. I wouldn't say rocket fast. Our fastest one was probably about 2 months, I believe, but average median is about 5, 6 months. Okay, I don't know what it's going to be in store for 2024. We're now hitting the second quarter, second day in the second quarter, so it's still pretty recent. Okay, we don't have enough data points to have like say we can stick to that 5, 6 months. But the longer y'all wait to file, then the longer your case is going to take. So if you know you're eligible, don't sit on your hands. Take action, okay? All right, I'll answer your question. But one more thing on the visa bulletin. Let me share my screen now. The most current updated bulletin right now. If you're on TikTok and you're wondering what is John sharing, you can go to greencardguys.tv and it'll take you to the YouTube page. Um, let's see here. Okay. So I'm sharing my screen here. This is the visa bulletin. Department of State creates this and publishes it every month, typically a couple weeks before the next month. Okay. So the key thing here is, for example, F2B. We're talking about you're sponsoring your typically a spouse or a unmarried son or daughter who's under 21. Okay. If you're worrying about your stepkids, by the way, or yeah, call stepkids, the marriage relationship has to have occurred before they turn 18. And might be wondering, well, why does it show age 21? That is for the immigration form itself. But for the marriage relationship to establish the stepchild or step parent relationship has to be before the child turns 18 years old. Okay. So there's two charts, A and B. I won't go through full explanation here because I know I got some questions to answer for y'all. So, but here's the main thing. You can see, other than people from China, India, Mexico, and Philippines, they have a much longer wait time because there's more populated countries. So therefore, meaning trickle down effect, there's going to be more applicants from those countries. Otherwise, you follow the left column, all other areas. Then it shows September 8th, 2020. It's ridiculous, folks. We are now in what year? 2024. We're already in the second quarter. So, yeah, it's a 4-year wait time, hypothetically. Okay, and that doesn't necessarily include the time it takes to approve the petition. However, there's one tip I want to share with y'all that a lot of people get a bit confused here. And y'all, ooh, there we go. Y'all are worried about like, oh, my petition's taking so long. Well, my first question always is, well, is it a family preference category? Because if it is, then the longer it takes, the better in terms of the Child Status Protection Act law, the act, and that has a calculation, a formula. The longer your petition takes, and if your child is over 21, it is more likely to lock in your child's age to be under 21, meaning that child can be included with, let's say you sponsor your brother or your sister, then they can be included in the application. Okay. That's usually where it gets the CSPA, Child Status Protection Act. That scenario is usually concerned when it's F3 or F4 category or even F1. Okay. But for some reason, it tends to be issues, of course, concerns about the nieces and nephews. All right. So you don't usually want to file a lawsuit for family preference petition, even though it does take a long time. Okay. Hopefully that helps you out. Now, and to answer some questions. Alrighty. On Instagram, Miracle John Paul, the fiance visa, how long it take? It depends on what part of it you're talking about. Like overall, start to finish, probably 3 years average. But if you're only talking about the visa itself, that step one, that's 5 to 12 months. Um, Hypothetically, it's supposed to take, I mean, it's supposed to take shorter time because that's the intent of the fiance visa. But with the pandemic, since I mean, we're so many years past pandemic now. I mean, it's no excuse now for the government. It's ridiculous. But yeah, that you have to also include the time after entering with the fiance visa and then having to apply the third set of documents per se for adjustment of status. All right, thank you so much for the questions. Happy to answer them. Some, hey, Bet, good to see you. I just came across yours. Can I follow you back right here? Nice, good to see you, Bet. Hope you're doing well. Yes, I did go to CUNY. I was 1 year below you, or yeah, in that sense. Hope you're doing good. Hope we can catch up. Man, that's been so long ago. Hey, Brian. Good to see you too. Brian Manning is here on the live show. At least he was here a second ago. He helps with Asylum. So if anyone has questions about Asylum, please reach out to his page because we don't handle that. Alrighty. Great to see you. Okay, so Mufti Sadiq, and I'm gonna just go ahead and apologize for everyone if I mispronounce your name. I apologize. Okay, you received your R1 visa for 1.5 years, then you got married and applied for green card or marriage. Congrats. Congrats to you. I don't know. Do you have a follow-up question? Let's see. I'll be on the lookout. You bet. Yes. Send me a DM because I don't know if you have my email. Um, I don't. Yeah, just DM me and then I'll share you my email because I have not checked the CUNY Law email since law school. I know some people still use it in general. Are you still in New York? I'm in Texas now. Which, by the way, folks, I do have um, a physical office in Houston, Texas. I know some of the attorneys here on the live shows, or on social media, they don't have a physical office for clients to visit. So I think that's kind of strange, but whatever works for them. But you don't necessarily need a lawyer face to face. Do you need a lawyer overall? We highly recommend it. Okay, I just mentioned two lawyers on the show here that just joined for a second. They would tell you need a lawyer as well. So um, that's just recommended for peace of mind because we do see and hear a lot of problems, unfortunately, specifically with immigration. Okay, there's your follow up. Okay, move to Sadiq. After receiving 5-year work permit, is their R1 visa still there, working or not? Well, I mean, it should be still active. So yeah, some people wonder that, like, if you have current visa status and it's still valid and unexpired, you're still on that visa, unless maybe you like left the U.S. and came back, and then you've told customs something else. But even though you've applied through this person on TikTok has applied for adjustment of status through their spouse, assuming U.S. citizen, I think you wrote that in, then yeah, because you don't necessarily, and although you can get a temporary work permit through a marriage case, that's not status. Okay, that's only a work permit. So it's just a temporary work permit. It's not even temporary status. It's only the ability to work in the United States legally. So for any benefit, you say you're an R1, then you technically don't need to continue R1, but because you just never know what can happen in marriage 6 months down the line, 1 year down the line. Wish you all the best in finding the right match. But I'm friends with divorce lawyers. So if I were you, I would stick through the R1 as long as possible until you get that green card. Okay? Because I would really hate for y'all to whatever visa you're currently on right now, that you're maintained it for so long, and then you get married to a US citizen, and then you move in together, and then 1, 2 months later, you're like, what doesn't matter about gender? You're like, that person is not exactly the person I thought I was gonna, get with or marry. And then sure enough, you're like made that decision already to not continue with your R1 work, right? Maybe you work for someone else, but it's not for a religious occupation, and that's a problem. Okay. Or if you overstay your visa, any kind of visa in general, yeah, that's a problem. So my team has told me to share that with y'all that if you don't know what the future can look like in terms of your status, try your best to not overstay. I know it's an easy statement to say, but some people have called in saying they didn't know that they had to renew their work visa. And I'm just like, should you? You should have known. But anyway, so that's my recommendation. If you're in a situation that you have two options and you're wondering what to do, my general go to answer will be maintain that non immigrant visa even if you have adjustment of status pending. It's just like asylum. People who have pending asylum, and then a lot of people ask like, should I withdraw now while adjustment of status pending through marriage? No, just wait until the very end until you get that approval notice and that resident card in your physical hands. Then you can file that request in a cover letter, 1 page document that you withdraw the asylum application. Okay. So hopefully that gives you, because you just never know with a relationship. I wish you all the best in that. It's not easy to find the right match. All right, so there was a long answer with some tips. Alrighty. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Real Chaudhry. You got I-130 pending for your wife and child, and you recently naturalized. So do you have to file again? Is pending for your wife and child? Oh, okay. Yes, you do, because which is actually related to this topic of the day, F2B. Because before your F2B, assuming a child meaning under 21 and unmarried, then yeah, you're supposed to file a separate petition, okay, as for what's it called, for a child, because it's not, unfortunately it's not one of those like what do you call it, the Staples commercial, the easy button that you click it and it's like okay, just like converts. um it also may depend how far along. Okay. um so I'll have to take a look at that. Not every scenario you have to refile a petition, but that's how USCIS makes their money. Okay. They technically are supposed to, but we'll take a look. Okay. All right. Don't be shy to follow up. Thanks for sharing the show, guys. Let's see here. Someone asked, letter M, I'm trying not to skip around, but I just came across this one. M said, how long should you wait before contacting a local congressperson before moving the case? Moving along your case. So here's the deal. Your local elected official is not going to do anything. Let me repeat that. Your local elected official is not going to do what you want them to do, right? Unless you're literally only asking for a case status update, then in most scenarios you could just do that online, which is going to say the same thing than what the elected officials staff is going to tell you by email. And typically, especially if it's a case abroad, it's it's the same thing every time a client ends up authorizing us to help them with a mandamus lawsuit, and we see the email, the PDF or whatnot, the screenshot, and it's your case is the applicant is still undergoing background check, and you're like, I already know that. That's what they told me. So it's not even so much like how often. I saw someone else comment to every 6 months. Like that's sure. I'm not going to stop y'all from contacting your local elected official. You one of y'all, I mean, the U.S. citizen may have voted for that person. Even if you didn't vote for that person, they're supposed to help you to some extent. But no, they're not going to push. What you want them to do is push the case along to get you to the next step. For some people, the next step depends on the case, the situation. For some people, is to push to get the interview. For some people, is to get the visa issued, and then the other people, other folks, is to get the actual residency. Okay, the decision, right? I mean, application decision. So there's at least three different scenarios, and there's some people stuck at documentary qualified for more than a year. Some of y'all have been commenting and saying you've been stuck for 2 years plus. So the congressperson is not going to do anything. You just, have to know. Because I'm not trying to give you a hard time, but I just want to share the realistic expectation. And again, I'm not saying don't contact them, but just know what to expect and expect that it's not going to push your case. If it does, let me know. I would be very surprised, and whatever wording you use must be magical because they usually they don't do that. Okay. Alrighty. Lamadine, I think. Lamajdine. Your work permit is getting delayed 55 days since you applied. Well, that's not even 2 months. I mean, almost. I wouldn't say that's delayed unless you're thinking you're looking at your My USCIS account and it told you like, oh, it'll be done in 2 weeks. That also is not something you should depend on. Okay, I'll let y'all know right now. I need to create a video about this. Whatever timing they tell you on the My USCIS account, your attorney, if you have one, does not know about it. We don't have access to that. And for good Lord, thank God, because otherwise y'all be asking us to check what it says. Because it doesn't matter. They made shit up. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't know how they come up with that number. 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 months, 4 months. Like, it's just a bunch of BS. Like, I'm genuinely interested in how they come up with that number. And I'm not making this up either because I call into the USCIS hotline and I ask them about my client situation, what I need to do. And at the tail end of the call, I always ask, by the way, is the information like the timing wise, what they say on the My USS account accurate? And they're like, good Lord, no, it's not. And they feel bad because they don't want to receive your calls about that either. So, anyways, moving on. um, And I don't know what you apply for, what kind of work permit you apply for, what basis. That would give me a better idea. But generally, I would say average time 5 6 months. I know DACA renewals have been taking longer for so God knows what reason. Yep. So 7 a.m. Jose, I guess, has a similar situation. Filed I-130. It said the result is coming up within a week, but it's been 5 months. Yeah. So there's no, you should not depend on that. And for what? You can't do anything about it. It is what it is. Like, we can't sue them about it. Okay, let's see here. How y'all doing today? Welcome to the show, greencardguys.tv. If you're interested to wanting to learn more information about immigration, because maybe some of y'all here are in the United States, some of you are abroad, like you have an active case, some of y'all may even have an attorney. Thank you so much for tuning in. That means a lot to me. Um, but at the end of the day, um, especially if you have, whether you just received a request for evidence, a notice of intent to deny, or a denial notice, you need to talk to a lawyer as soon as possible, and preferably not just any lawyer. You need to talk to a lawyer who handles these cases exclusively. Okay, exclusively. Because there's some attorneys that do multiple things. Like, man, like my mind today already this morning, just managing the team. There's so much going on. We have retreat tomorrow, so I'm not going to be able to go live tomorrow unless maybe it's at night. But just managing the team is a lot, of course. If anyone is a manager, I feel you. I know what you're talking about. It's not that easy. Love my team. Everyone's great, but I'm always always trying to train them. So, anyways, how did I get on that tangent? All right, question here. You're how much are the new fees for 45 765 I-131? You're responding to I'm a Rose. I just downloaded something yesterday. Let me see if I can find it. Hopefully my computer doesn't shut down because I have a lot of tabs open. Okay, here. Okay, while it's pulling up, let me answer another question here. But before April 1st was 1760 if you're applying for petition and everything else, adjustment of status. But let's see here. 485. Yep, that all gone up. So I need to put that together. But it's at least 2,300, I believe. The last time I calculated that. Okay. Yep. Okay. So now let's see here. Highly, highly favored, highly favored on TikTok. If you never met your fiance in person, can you still apply for fiance visa K1? Unfortunately, not. And you need to provide proof of that essentially as well. That you need to have met within the last 2 years of applying for the I-129F. Yeah, which is the K for the K visa process. Okay. All right, you file. How long does it take to get a receipt notice after application delivered lockbox location? Generally, about 3 to 5 weeks. And even then, it shouldn't take that long. It should just be freaking automated, right? But it does require you to fill out a form. So it sounds like you probably already filed it, but you need to fill out, if you have not filed your case at all yet, you want to use the form G1145. It's just a one pager. You put in your name, email, phone number, and they'll either text you or email you. The first three characters are alpha characters, and the rest are numbers. So that is your receipt number. Because some people wonder, like, what the heck is this? There's no actual message. It's just a receipt number. Jennifer Simmons, you're a U.S. citizen. You filed for your stepkids I-130. That's very nice of you. In February 2024, so that was what, a little over a month ago. They're in Jamaica. How long should it take? Ooh, probably at least 2 years. You just got to get in your mind it could take at least 2 years. And the bulk of half the time is the petition itself. And then the other half of the time, if not more, will be just waiting for the interview. Okay. So you're a US citizen. So even though it's a immediate relative category for you, Jennifer on TikTok, it still will likely take 2 years just with the standard process. Okay. If something pops up that you're wondering, like, is there a way to expedite? Yeah, there's ways to expedite it, request it, but it's not a guarantee. This expedite request was created because of the pandemic, and which means it's temporary. They can get rid of it at any time. But I think USCIS is keeping it because there are scenarios where truly you need expedite requests, not just because people think it's taking too long, which it does, unfortunately, especially when they're abroad. uh, Semrin Queen, you're asked about. You asked about your mom wants to bring her son over here in the US, but it's been over 7 years. What should you do? I don't know what you mean by it's been over 7 years. 7 years since when? Did you file? Did she file it already? I would like to know exactly what you mean by 7 years. I have to make the assumption that the case has been going on for 7 years. If that's a situation, that's too long. Then we definitely need to talk. Premium process. How long does premium process take for EB2 NIW? Um, are you talking about the I-140? If you're talking about I-140, let's double check here. I'm pretty sure it's no longer 15 business days. So let me see here. Let me double check. Pretty sure they extended the timing on that, unfortunately. Very, very unfortunate. Let's see here. Premium processing. It used to be 15 business days. In the meantime, let me answer this question. If you have Christian Candia, if you have a conditional GC marriage, do you need to renew your DACA? No, not necessarily. But if you have concerns about your marriage relationship, then you might want to keep it. But no, you don't have to keep it. Hope it all works out for you and your relationship. But even if you don't keep the DACA, even if for some reason you guys get separated, you can file 71 um, as separated. Basically, you either select hardship based on hardship waiver or divorce. But most people don't have the divorce order by the time they need to file that. Okay, so hopefully that helps. Okay, here we go. So let me see if I can share this tab. Okay, so on YouTube and Facebook, I can share this tab right here. Let me make that a little bit larger for y'all, but it does show, okay, there we go. For premium processing, provides expedited processing for the following forms: I-129, I-140, 765, and the 539. Okay, so here it's based on visa type or category here. And looks like, yeah, 45 days. Well, that's funny. Well, not funny. Ironically, ours is also 45 days. If you authorize our team to help you or anyone that's a non-family based case, then it's our max plan is 45 days. But of course, if there's some clients need more time because of evidence, then obviously we'll need to wait a little bit more time. But our intention is to file your case sooner than later. I don't know. You let me know. Do other law firms tell you exactly when they're going to file? I'm interested in that, especially if y'all hired someone else. Let me know. I mean, obviously, you don't have to tell me everything. Just curious. But for family-based cases, we file in 30 days is our max plan. Alrighty. Okay, so international result, apply for O1A, but you got RFE. What are the odds of getting approved? Well, I don't know. You tell me. You tell me what's in the RFE. What do they ask for? Do you have the evidence to respond to the RFE, request for evidence? And even if for anyone that may receive or you have received a request for evidence, USCIS's job is not to think outside the box for you. That's what we do for you. Okay. Because yeah, they have their own checklist of documents of evidence, but what if you don't have that type of evidence they're asking for? Like if it's a marriage-based case, I think one of the first ones they add in there is like birth certificate of any children. Like, duh. Of course, if I had kids together, then I'll provide a birth certificate. It's like that's the silliest thing they would include. So that just goes to show like they don't think outside the box for you, which makes sense. You don't hire them, you pay them to process the application, not to guide you for the application. Okay. Hopefully that happens. That helps out. Give you a better idea. I mean, so I hope it works out for you. International result, but I don't know if you have a lawyer, but for some of y'all, you may have a lawyer now, but you're just not quite comfortable with them for the rest of the way. We've been there. We've been there to help out, jump in. And look, I'm not trying to step on anyone's toes as an attorney, but look, at the end of the day, You are the driver of your own case because we would still need to ask you for certain evidence, but we will work together with you to think outside the box in case you don't have anything on the list. Because, of course, if it was just based only on the checklist, then why do you need an attorney? Think about that. There's a reason why you need an attorney. So, but to go a little bit further on that, it's the case law. We research, research, and include information that can support your case that's not just found in your own computer. Okay. Let's see here. All right, we got some comments and questions on YouTube. I'll just hop in there. I didn't see this for a bit. Okay. Routes and routes. It's because I got this phone blocking my screen here. That's why I have to look like I'm looking to the side here. Greetings, routes and routes. Yeah. You're starting to get worried now. It says 1 week. You see folks getting in 60, 90 days. I don't know what you're talking about. I know usually your question is about timing, but getting what in 1 week? You're like decision? No, don't rely on that. You've been on a show plenty of times to know that I mention that every time that your My USCIS account, whatever it says in timing, do not believe it. I would call it misrepresentation, but what are you gonna do? Sue them for it on that? No, no one's gonna do that. So if that's what you're talking about. Frederick, can F2B beneficiary get work authorization when case in process? If I can speak generally for most people, the answer is no. Because first of all, you need to have maintained status in the United States. So if you're on a non-immigrant visa, so if you're on a non-immigrant visa, then you should be able to work based on that non-immigrant visa, most likely. But not, I know not every non-immigrant visa provides. It just depends on scenario. Okay. Let's see here. And then Cesar, do I know any legit online law schools? I have no idea. I don't. I mean, I haven't searched for it, but maybe there's a website that offers shows a list of law schools that provide remote, I guess, remote learning. But I think this now that's 2024. I don't think I just think it's difficult to learn law school in online, even though it makes sense to offer it this day and age, especially for what do you call that evening part-time students, and especially if you got kids. I would see the benefit in offering it, but you're going to miss out on, not that maybe some people don't care, but it's really the networking, y'all. Especially depending on networking and study partners, study groups. Um, hopefully those schools that offer remote learning, provide some kind of platform to meet each other. Okay, but no, I'm sorry, Cesar. I don't know a list. I don't even know my own law school that offers that, CUNY Law School in New York in this year, 2024. I know a lot of law schools during pandemic, of course, had to be flexible, but I don't know anymore. Alrighty, let's see here. Oh, you're in Florida, you bet. Okay. Oh shoot. Well, I think if I recall your politics, I wonder. Hopefully, you don't have to run into the governor over there. Mame Ahima on TikTok. You filed for naturalization and then got your third DUI. You're currently on probation. You haven't heard from. Yeah, that's gonna be a problem most likely. Okay, see, I think I see your second comment. You haven't heard from USCIS since you did your biometrics in 2023. Yeah, so that's the deal because it's essentially the period of good moral character has been broken. So, I mean, you definitely want to talk to a lawyer one on one because my general sense, without going into it fully with you, is to withdraw the N400 because most likely it's going to get denied. Because typically, I mean, not typically, the rule is the good moral character is from the date that your probation ended, okay, until the time that you um, applied. Okay, it's actually applied. It's not the time of the interview. So that has to be a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, depending. A 3-year-old if you're still married to the person who sponsored you, if you got through marriage, okay, to a U.S. citizen. So hopefully that helps. I need to sit back and relax because the way my table is, my elbow's all weird. Roots and routes. It's been 5 years since you haven't seen your kids. Can USCIS expedite your EAD in 131? I think roots and routes. I think it's time for you to schedule a time with us. Maybe you have. I know you joined Instagram the other day, but I don't remember your name because I thought it was just a marriage-based case recently. Or is your spouse filed for you? Or you filed for your spouse? Maybe your kids are abroad, I guess. Yeah, it's possible to expedite, but it just depends on the facts. I think just telling USCIS that you haven't seen your kids for 5 years, unfortunately, is not enough. You applied. You applied for your husband last year. Okay, user 5284 51. July I-130 for your spouse. Still showing it takes longer than expected. Yeah, that is a typical status that shows, unfortunately, online forever. In addition to actively being reviewed. Oh my, like, come on, it's ridiculous. Did they actually want us to think that they're actually actively reviewing your case for the last 50 days? No, that's ridiculous. They should just tell us if they truly just put the file on the side and not reviewing it. They should just say we're halfway through reviewing it or something, like, or we're gonna look at it later. Like, don't mislead us and tell us that that USC is actively reviewing, because I know that's like frustrating for you all. Because when you see it the first time, you're like, oh, amazing, amazing. Maybe next week, next month. No, a crock of shit. They're just like ridiculous. Oh, excuse my French. All right, here. We got Govinda on YouTube. How many times can you reschedule interview date? What y'all trying to do? Why are you trying to reschedule? Govinda, this is a problem. Because if you reschedule even one time, they're more likely to lose your case file and lose track of it. I mean, again, this is another example that you might think USCIS got their stuff together. Nope, they don't. Okay. You really need to try your best not to reschedule. I mean, there's no like number of times for adjustment of status, if that's what you're referring to. I don't think there's a limit as far as I know, but they might not reschedule you. It just might get lost, and then you're gonna have to file, unfortunately, submit an inquiry, and if that doesn't work, then file a lawsuit. So I hope the reason is not related to your spouse, and that he or she is still willing to go to the interview. Maybe hopefully it truly is because of work or something. Then all right. Oops, click the wrong button. Lady Luck, can you file for asylum due to threats and border controversy? I don't think border controversy is enough, but yeah, threats, alleged persecution, or I guess you could say perceived persecution on your part. But you can talk to Lady Luck if you want to DM us. We can send you Brian Manning's attorney Brian Manning's law firm information about his asylum work. Okay, so check him out. He's got a channel on all these platforms as well. Manu, what happened if you're a green card holder and you have a misdemeanor? Can you still apply for second GC? I think maybe you mean remove conditions. Um, Depends what the misdemeanor is. I'm getting this feeling that you may not want to share that online. So you're welcome to DM us and schedule or set up a meeting. Okay. Um, I can't just flat out just say any misdemeanor is all good and gravy. But hey, what's up, Red Eagle? Good to see you. Hope you're doing good. Well, I need to schedule a meeting with you. Hope you're doing good. Whoever celebrates, if anyone celebrated Easter weekend, I hope you had a good one as well. Or even if y'all just were collecting your own eggs, I hope y'all collected as many eggs as possible. Got some goodies. Someone at my kid's school put rocks in the eggs. I wonder if the kid did that or the parent. What do y'all think? um, Batya on YouTube. How long will it take to get 71 decision? You filed it back in September 22, 23, 24. So is it 2 years for you? Let me look at one of my favorite web pages, USCIS processing times. Red Eagle and I would probably agree that USCIS is ridiculous on their processing times. Um, let me click on, what did you ask about? 751. Okay, let me pop it in. 751, drop down menu here. Which, by the way, folks, if you're ever wondering, like, oh, why is that service center so much faster? And I live in California. How come I didn't get California Service Center? It is all random. It is all randomly assigned. Okay. All right. So actually, California Service Center shows. Let me show it to the screen on YouTube and Facebook. You can see this. It says 24 months for 71 that's at California Service Center. Gonna click on Nebraska Service Center. You know what? I need to figure something out to put it on the TV behind me. I don't know what happened to my remote. So, but that's a good idea because I mean, on TikTok, it's backwards anyway. Nebraska Service Center. Oh, surprisingly says 17 months. Let's click on Texas Service Center. Ooh, you do not want your case at the Texas Service Center. It's 29.5 months if you file a 751 application. If you don't know what a 751 application is, you might not need to know about it. That's if you have a conditional resident status and need to remove those conditions later. There we go. I'm back on YouTube. Okay. Let me, I'm not trying to skip anyone. I'm just going back and forth between different platforms. So Jose Aguilar, hopefully that answers your question as well. Okay, Oates, you're a student about to turn 21 here. I don't know if, I guess that means you're F1 student in the US. Your consulate interview is in 2 weeks. Should you fly home for it? You're gonna have to. 2 weeks. I see what you're saying. Because you probably got finals coming up. Ooh, that's a tough one. Ooh, what's more important, finals or your interview? Ooh, that's a tough. Ooh, man. But wouldn't that be a great feeling if you get your visa before? But that's a big if. Okay, I've been talking about a lot about case delays again on Instagram. There's a law firm that joined Red Eagle Law in California, and they file lawsuits as well. Okay, and so the general knowledge here is that anything related to consular processing. I mean, I wish you the best, but sometimes even wishing you the best is not enough, right? It is risky. You should not assume that you're going to get the visa and turn right around and come back to America and take your final exams. Okay, if that's a tough decision, but if I were me with my knowledge with case delays, and it also includes for people who are consular abroad, okay, for the interview. And even though the interview could take 5 to 10 minutes and not that much time, and during the interview, you're like, oh, piece of cake, no problem. And then you get the email, dun dun dun. Then they say, hey, fill out this form, DS 5535, and then they don't crickets. They don't tell you what's up and ever unless you email them, and then they email back eventually, not in 24 hours, but eventually email back and say, we're still conducting background check. You're a son of a. It's like, God damn. And you're wondering, like, you wish you had known all that before you left. before the exam. So thank you so much, Oates, for asking that. Because there's no step-by-step thing that the Department of State or USCIS will provide online, folks. That is why this is one reason why I go on a live show almost every day. Sorry I couldn't join yesterday. But tune in, okay, follow, subscribe on your respective platform. So even if you're shy today, you're new to the channel, no worries. I'm back almost every day unless I'm super busy, like super busy that I'm about to pass out type of situation. But trying to get on a live show to share info with you is my top three input things I need to do every day. Okay. Kosh, you got skipped. Oh, sorry, buddy. Sorry, Kosh. Where you at? Where's your? Oh, there you are. Kosh on YouTube. Can a person on H-1B adjust status under I-130 F4 category if you happen to be in the U.S. when PD is current? Yes. Yes. That's great. You waited all those years and finally, okay. Yeah, you can do that. And then you follow chart B on the USCIS page. It'll tell you to follow chart B if you are in the United States with legal status. So yeah, that's great. That's great to hear. Most people, as you probably know, is not that situation. But so keep maintaining that FH1B in the meantime, okay? Got to file that on time, timely. 16 years on F4 and H1B. My goodness. So you know all about what to do then in general. Yeah. You should be able to find that page, but if you Google search USCIS Visa Bulletin, it should show the web page that says like if you're filing for adjustment of status, meaning you're in the United States with valid status, NIV, then you follow Chart B. I think they changed that a couple years ago. So right now it's Chart B. Good luck to you. Yep, keep tracking it. Yeah, Chart B will tell you when to file the 485. All right, back to TikTok. Natalie Silva. Your son is overseas and he's 5 years old. You're a U.S. citizen. If he comes here, he become a citizen or a resident. Well, I assume that you obtain residency, and not through naturalization. So you have to apply for him. Okay, if if he wasn't included in the first application when you got residency, which I'm assuming no, then you need to sponsor him for residency first, and after that's approved, then phase two of his legal status is to apply for his citizenship. Okay, so you need. I highly recommend to chat with us one on one. Let's see. Share 5555. 824 approved. Oh, congratulations. That probably took forever. For your wife, been 14 months. No updates from NVC. Those bastards. What should you do? Wait or any process? So where did you move the case to? Was it NVC and then you moved it to USCIS or vice versa? Can you mention as a comment if you're still on? Okay. And I'll scroll down in a bit to follow up if you're able to answer that. But in general, if I'm assuming you already emailed the consulate embassy, assuming you want to keep the file there, but even if you want to move the file from the consulate embassy back to USGS, then you should, what is that thing? What am I doing using my finger? You should email them the approval notice of the 824 because folks, you can have more than one application, okay, in general, but don't, or you can have one application, but don't assume that one application that other than I-130, that USCIS is going to coordinate and talk to National Visa Center or the consular embassy. They don't talk to each other. So that's another reason why to have an attorney. Okay, we'll help you out, get you out of the jam here. Hey, what's up, Maggie? Oats, let me see. Oh, wow. Thank you so much for the questions. I just scrolled all the way down and I see Oates. Oates' is follow comments. You can take finals in August, but you're scared of turning 21 while constant processing. Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, if your legal status is secure, I mean, in terms of like Child Status Protection Act, I don't know, are you considered derivative or may just depend on that as well? Let's see here. You can take finals in August. That's good to know. Hopefully, maybe you might want to check in with your professor, see if there's any possibility to take it remotely, just in case. But you say August, that should give you some buffer time. That's a good thing. And by the way, you gotta get your medical exam. Nice. Your school says you got a nice school that says you can go. Um, mm, yeah, I mean, well, with the information, your follow comment, you said the school can back it up to August, or I guess delay it to August, and then I would probably go. Okay, but I'm not your lawyer. This is your decision. Okay, if your entire family is going, that might make it easier in that sense. Um, you turning 21, I wouldn't be worried about that unless you well, I still wouldn't be worried about it if you do the calculation with the Child Status Protection Act. Okay. But if for some reason that doesn't work out, you come back on your F1 visa. Um, yeah, I don't know why I didn't think about that. Even if you wanted to come back on time for your finals and you studied your butt off on the airplane or whatnot, and you came back, you could come back and you're supposed to be able to come back your F1, even if you're still waiting on your visa to be issued, right? And even if it says visa refused online, you're still supposed to be able to come back your F1. Okay, so make sure it's still valid, right? Your F1, of course. And then worst case scenario, if for some reason it still shows visa refused for whatever reason, then you're gonna technically have to file 824 form, send it back to to America to do adjustment of status, which that takes at least 12 months. Well, this one summer center says 2 years. So that's it's a gutsy call, I guess. Because by the time visa refusal, it could be turned around for for good reason, then maybe you don't have to go through 824. So it's a strategy call. So hopefully you don't have to worry about all that. Hopefully you just get your freaking visa in a couple weeks. Good luck to you. GG, you filed a U visa. And what else? Submitted 485 on September 2022. 2022. You're 485 based on U visa. Yeah, it's a year and change right now. So let's chat, okay? That's almost a year and a half, if anything. Yeah. So it's maybe time to file a lawsuit. Let's talk about that. User 6783, 10 years, married, 2 kids, possibly a green card. I need more facts about that. Okay. I don't know if your spouse has legal status right now or what it is. Let me know. Um, okay, folks, so we're getting to that part of the day of the show where if I haven't answered your question, you may need to go ahead and click my profile picture and click that link under my profile picture. Then is just low number of questions, maybe like 5 questions, just mostly contact information. And then it's going to redirect you to a page after you click submit, going to redirect you to a page to pay this amount. It's a hold fee. Think of it like a hotel. They do like the hold fee, okay? Because they don't want you staying there and then you make a mess in the hotel room and different in a different fashion. For us is about making sure you show up to the meeting because there's a reason why you scheduled. There's a reason why you schedule with us specifically. But surprisingly, there's a few people, bad apples, that don't show up. And again, it's probably due to work. But because of that, we have limited meetings, so we really would recommend to make good use of our time and your time. And so you have to show up. If you show up, then ask us to refund and we'll definitely do it. We're happy to do it. It's less than a cup of coffee, folks. If you can afford any cup of coffee outside your house, I think you can afford this amount of money. Okay, I can't say it out loud. I don't want to be banned on this platform. Jaria, can you still get a successful case if USCIS sends an RFE? Absolutely. Absolutely. We can turn that around and get that approved for you. But you need to work with us to get you some um, work on that evidence. And so for a good amount of folks, it's not just the evidence that we ask you for, it's also to work together, collaborate on your letter. Okay. In most scenarios, for most cases, we're going to work with you on your letter. Of course, you need to start a draft, but we give you some guidelines on what we're looking for in the letter. And sometimes USCIS gives us maybe a pretty decent idea, especially if you already had the interview. Okay. Yes. Fortunately, with our law firm, we don't get notice of intent to deny, except I think like 1, 2 times in my 12-year career. Okay. But that's usually when USCIS is dumb. Okay. Go figure. Is that the right word? Or they have rookie officers. But I hope it's a rookie officer, not a seasoned, experienced officer. But um, for example, when they asked us for a copy of the passport or the visa, we're like, our system, our Dropbox shows we send it to you. But we'll just turn around and give it to them. But there are some scenarios, a lot of scenarios when people authorize us to help with a response to RFE or notice intent deny, there's inconsistent answers from the spouses. Okay. So we got to get on the same page. And we got to get your support from your spouse to also write their own letter. And I know some of y'all write the letter for your spouse. I get that as long as you talk to them about it. That's the most important thing, that you work together on it. But I think you know what I mean. And if I can point out a certain gender, you know who I'm talking about. Y'all gotta do so much work for that other gender. All right, here on YouTube, is it okay you try to reach out live chat using Emma if PD just got current in April? Okay, congrats to you about your PD. 45 file. Well, I don't know what you want out of live chat. In general, yes, you could use live chat, but what's your expectation? What do you want them to tell you? If you want the live chat to tell you that you're good to go to file your case, 45, they're not going to tell you that. Highly doubt that. They're not an attorney. That's what an attorney will help you with. But yeah, you filed it in October 2023. Employee based, USCIS status. Yeah, I don't know what your follow-up question could be, but if you're still on, let me know. Okay, TikTok is making sure I'm still alive and awake. So I have to do this puzzle to make sure I'm still here. Okay. I've gone a little bit over time. Let me see if I can answer a couple more questions. Apologies for anyone I skipped. TikTok like forces it down for some reason. Do I do free consults? We do have strategy session at no cost to you other than this amount, okay, as a hold fee. Um, let's see here. CH3V Roman numeral 3 in the Roman numerals. Um, your attorney never filed your case and now there's an increase. Who's responsible? Oh god. Okay, so we just filed a crap ton of oops, that's not the right word. We just filed a lot of cases, okay, recently, right before the deadline. And they say it's supposed to be they will rely on postmark date. But in reality, some of y'all on the live show have commented that they rejected your case. So because of your experience, thank you. But for sharing, we also put in our letters to USCIS at the very top of the package that we put in, do not effing reject our case. Do not reject our case, okay? And it's postmarked, and we provide them a tracking number just in case they somehow got it all mixed up. But reality is that unfortunately, if they got rejected because they claim that or they say fees increased, but you're like, I freaking filed it and mailed it before postmark before April 1st. I know it sucks, but at the end of the day, you just got to pay the extra fee. Now, specifically to this question, though, it depends. What did your attorney or law firm um, say? Did they promise they were going to file before? Then I would say yes, even though you have to resubmit. Like, who's going to pay that fee? Um, you know what I mean? Like, if he didn't promise, then you can't assume that that law firm was going to file it before the deadline. Like, y'all know, you've been following my channel for a long time. Probably a good amount of y'all. We are very intentional. I told the team every week for the past 2 months leading up to the April 1st, we need to let clients know if we're going to be able to file it, or not just be able to, but if you want, we let the clients know in advance. If you want your case to be filed before the deadline, okay, April 1st, then you need to give us the evidence beforehand and ABC, all the other things we need to do. But so I hope that makes sense. It sounds like you did everything you could, okay? So, but you also need to depend on the contract as well. All right, I'm gonna answer one more on TikTok that I know. I'm gonna answer Rose's question on YouTube. Hi, Vanessa. Um, let's see. Your lawyer didn't file your I-485 properly, leading to the ooh man. Every time I continue to read y'all's comments. Ah boy, case got denied. Well, and you're wondering, can you sue her and get the case approved or just refile? Um, yeah, when it comes to immigration, it's so just in general with civil lawsuits, you have to know what you're trying to get back, right? Or like damages. So if your goal in terms of damages, like what is the outcome of a civil lawsuit? I feel like I need to have another channel just about this. What is the outcome you want out of a civil lawsuit? In your situation, it can't be the legal status because the other lawyer can't control that, but they can give you some money back. But also depends on your contract. And just expect that attorney is going to say, well, I filed a case. And you're going to say, well, you didn't do XYZ properly. If it's and I've read, our legal team has looked at some files before, and in some situations, pretty obvious that attorney should have done ABC. But in some situations, it's difficult to say, right? It doesn't sound like this situation's like I've had a client lie to us and say, "Oh, I've never left the United States." And come to find, we go to interview, and the officer's like, "Did you ever leave the United States?" And then the client confesses, "You know what we got to do? We got to file that daggone waiver. We got to get that done, and we got it done in less than 30 days." And he got approved. Bam. So, but you got to pay for that kind of service. It's not like free, you know? So it's better. That's a good example of telling your, I'm sorry, a little side tangent from yours, Vanessa. You got to tell your attorney. If you're going to have an attorney, you got to tell them the truth. Okay. It's really best to do that so we can prevent some situations from happening, like working last minute like that. Because some people honestly don't have the money for it, right? So if we could prevent that situation from happening, we could avoid it from the beginning. Let's see. But overall, Vanessa, most likely, yeah, just refile. But is a civil lawsuit worth it? No. I would just contact that lawyer and say, hey, um, this is what happened. This is what I noticed happened. Maybe you didn't tell me. Maybe you did. But I want some money back. If they're not going to give you the whole thing, which most likely not, there's probably a portion of it is not refundable. Then you got to try to see if you get some money back. Okay. Good luck to you. I know, folks. Like some of y'all get a little defeated, especially if you hired a lawyer before, even if it's not related to immigration, and you had a bad experience. That is the other reason I'm on the live show because I want you to know, even if you went through a bad experience, that not every lawyer is like that. Okay, I go on conferences at legal lawyer conferences and talk to other lawyers to tell them how we do our customer service, and people get scared. I tell them a client can self-schedule a meeting. Okay, self-schedule, and we give the link in the below on our email signature box. And like, self-schedule? No, scared. They're scared to talk to you. I don't know why. I love it. Just like we even have clients. message here on the live show. Welcome. Welcome to joining time. Okay, Rose, back to you. Okay, your husband turned himself in as a minor when he got to the US. You're a citizen, you're now expecting. Okay, early congratulations to you, Rose. And his case has been pending for 4 years. What kind of case? Because you should you start a marriage-based case instead? So what did he file? What case does he have now? Removal proceeding? Is that what you mean? Because you say they keep pushing his interview back. Oh yeah, sounds like court. Okay, immigration court. His court appearance is always pushed back a year. I know, I know. And if y'all seen I think it was uploaded to TikTok first. I usually upload videos to TikTok first because it's easier. And then my team uploads it to other platforms. But I do have a video up there from last week that I went to Dallas last Thursday. Man, it's only Tuesday. It feels like a week ago already. Went there last Thursday, got the case dismissed. Dismissed, folks. We did a lot of work to try to get dismissed beforehand. The judge signed off on the dismissal order 6 p.m. the day before the hearing. So technically, I could have avoided flying over there to Dallas, but it was a good time. Got to see my family. It was cool. But man, I could have prevented it from happening, from you flying. But the clerks and the judges. So why am I sharing this? Number one, the success story. But number two, especially for Rosa's situation, your husband, this client's case in court started in 2015. I just got this dismissed last week on Thursday, 2024. And if you ever wonder why it's important to know the situation about government shutdown, federal government shutdown, it always pops up in the news like at least seems like twice every year. It affects certain federal agencies, or if not all, like the court. And I think this case is probably rescheduled at least twice. It's crazy. For better or worse, and this situation is better because prosecutor discretion has always existed, but this is a bit more expansive. Okay. So Rose, hopefully, it says court appearance with immigration court though. Okay, you didn't file anything. Okay, yeah. But yeah, I think somewhere you said you have an attorney, but maybe. But if you don't know what it, yeah. So let's talk because if you're gonna sponsor him, Rose, then we should be able to get his case dismissed from court, so you don't have to worry about going to court anymore and not worry about it getting rescheduled. Okay. So let's chat, Rose. You're on YouTube, so somewhere I don't know how it works when you're on the live show, but somewhere on my about page on YouTube, or the main page, there should be a link, and that can take you straight to our form. Just I think like 5 questions. Again, it's going to redirect if anyone's interested to chat with our team. It's going to redirect you to a form of like 5 questions. Then after that, you click submit. You just pay this amount. Okay, it's just to make sure you show up. It's less than a cup of coffee. I still hope you show up because we want to help you. We want to help 1,000 people get legal status by the end of next year, 2025. So it'll be our pleasure to assist you. In some situations, we have to tell you, sorry, you're not eligible. And we're happy to tell you that because then you don't have to waste any of your fees. Save money for that house with the high interest rate. Okay. We just hate hearing stories where people pay so many thousands of dollars and then they maybe shouldn't have filed in the first place. All right. Dark Sugar 2450. If you're getting married, does a U.S. citizen need to go visit your soon-to-be spouse? Well, if you're talking, it sounds like you're living abroad, but yeah, I recommend it to get some photos. That would definitely make your case stronger. Let's see here. Jenny on TikTok. If your removal proceedings got dismissed by DHS, congrats. Y'all are funny. Some of you guys are always saying if. but I'm assuming it did happen. You're married to a U.S. citizen. Do you need to file 601A? Most likely, yes, if you're in removal proceedings, because if you entered the United States without legal status, without a visa, without parole, you definitely need to file the 601A. Absolutely. Okay. But if you have an exception could apply to you, and you might not know it, where you can avoid needing to file 601A, and then meaning you could file adjustment of status, the 485 in America. It's worth having a strategy session with us. Okay. So if anyone's in that kind of situation, you're like, do I do this or do that? Like you're in a pitch and a fork type of situation, and you want to make sure, even if you even if you don't want to hire a lawyer, I get it. I understand everyone's budget is different. But I think you will notice that hopefully through the live show and when you talk with my team, that we have processes in place, we have systems in place to make things happen for you for peace of mind. Okay, so you get that DACA legal status, so you can move on to go to the next phase of your life. Okay, whether you want a family or not. What would be the where? I think is your name on TikTok. 751 pending since January 2021. You can't apply for citizenship because of arrest. Gotcha. Pretty good job of trying to enclose the situation in that little space. Um, you can't file for citizenship, so you got to wait an extra. Is yours spousal waiver or divorced? Um, yeah, Vanessa, I see your other comment. I'm like multitasking like for real here. Yeah, you can. You just made an appointment with my team next Monday. Man, we're really that backed up. Tuesday. Okay, it's Tuesday right now. Okay, well, I'll take a look at the file if you uploaded the document. She missed the whole daggum question. Man, people these days, ridiculous. And I remind my team almost every day. I'm like, why do people hire us? I have to remind them just in case they forget, so we don't miss things like that, like a question. That is nuts. I'm sorry that you experienced that. Sorry. Back to what would be the where. What do you do? Okay, 71. Because yeah, it takes average 3 to 4 years. And assuming you still can't apply for citizenship until after that, you just got to wait it out, okay? But if you want to travel, ooh, you got to watch out, okay? What would the where be or something? You got to watch out because even though you have extended conditional resident status, because you could run into some trouble if you leave the United States because of that arrest. So you want to make sure you want to talk to immigration lawyer 101. If anyone has a crime, you might be in the wrong place, wrong time. Even if you did it intentionally, don't tell anyone. Okay? You need to just make sure that you talk to immigration lawyer 101 because there are repercussions, there are possible consequences of either not being able to get back in the US or you're going to get your case referred to court. Okay? And even though it may not affect you for the 751 process, it could affect your ability to come back into the US. So I know it's kind of weird. Really, really weird. Okay. Um, let's see here. To Vanessa's question here. Any chance you can talk with me? So I randomly pop in to meetings that y'all schedule from time to time. I'm not able to commit to a certain time period just because, as you can see here, I'm on a live show for more than an hour now. I gotta hop off and just drink some water. But we also have to manage a team. I train the team, I mentor the team, doing a retreat tomorrow for the team. So, but I would love to chat with you. If you just want absolutely to be sure that you chat with me, we do charge money for it. Okay. Um, and you go to, if you want to know how much, you go to greencardguys.com/contact us, or Vanessa, you already sounds like you have our email. Um, then you can go ahead and ask my team members. Okay. Let's see what else. But since Vanessa situation or anyone else, if you have documents like that, like a denial letter, RFE, NOID, please upload that when you submit the form. Okay. If not, you can always provide it to us later. Then you can get the most appropriate advice possible. So there's less back and forth. Dark sugar. How many trips would you have to take to satisfy immigration? There's no black and white number about that. It's just more establishing that um, that you have a relationship together. So, I mean, even if you couldn't go abroad to where your spouse or fiance is, then you need to document it somehow that you have a relationship, like a marriage relationship. The fiance visa pathway is the one that you absolutely need to have met in person. uh, Dark sugar. Yeah, so I just saw your follow-up comment. Yeah, I mean, so there's a key difference for fiance visa again. You have to, let me say this again. For fiance visa, there's a requirement that you have to have met in person within the last 2 years before you file a case. And in fact, you have to show proof of it through a letter. But for yours, I don't know. I can't remember if you're married or not, but if you're married, there is no rule. There is no legal rule stating that you have to have met in person. But can it make the case stronger? Yes, it certainly can. Okay. Even let alone photos, right? So, but the thing is, more specifically, you might wonder, uh, because we were promoting that you can get remarried remotely in through Utah State, Utah County, Utah State. But technically, you have to consummate the marriage. Now, think about it. Will USCIS actually ask if you have consummated marriage? I've heard some people have been asked that, but think about it for a second. All right. So for you to have actually consummated marriage, you have to meet in person. So if there's no proof that you at least met in person, then that's going to make it difficult. So I know it's an interesting thing, right? So hopefully that helps. I don't think they're going to ask for evidence like, did you actually sleep together type of evidence. That would be a bit wild. But, to give them that inclination that you maybe have consummated the marriage and you had some action, I hope that's TikTok safe, friendly. Then, then yeah, you have to have been met in person. Okay, whether it's your fiance met you and we're in the United States, or you went over to Nigeria, because I see your follow up question comment here. Okay, dark sugar. Your soon is so it sounds like you filed for a K1 visa, 129F for fiance petition. If you did, then you definitely need that statement of intent to marry. Man. All right, y'all. I'm getting a lot of comments from y'all saying that about like very common that a lot of y'all having bad experiences from attorneys. I'm really sorry to hear that. Now, y'all need to know what to expect, okay? Especially and thank you for sharing it for the other folks on here who have not heard about that. Maybe other people have not talked to a lawyer ever before because you never had a legal issue. And with immigration, I don't want to say you have to have a legal issue to talk to a lawyer. And fortunately with immigration, you can hire a lawyer before you file the case to prevent those issues. And so that's why I even feel sorry for folks who have gone through issues even with the lawyer. Now, look, are we perfect? No, we're not perfect, but we train and I mentor my team every day. And I do that with that reaction because I record so many videos. I mean, I went on this show for more than an hour, so you can imagine if you're on my team, you'll probably be annoyed at me. uh, let's see here. So, what would you the where? You said your attorney said not to send in waiver, but you think it's wrong advice. Says wait for it said wait for decree. I don't know what you mean by waiver. Yes, on the 751, I think is what you filed. It does have three options: filed jointly, so meaning married still, filed with divorced, and the next one is like based on hardship, basically. So in most scenarios, we pick the last two: hardship and divorced. And so I don't know what you mean by send in the waiver, though. Like evidence about it. Yeah, we always recommend providing like a letter from you stating the situation, because the whole goal with any case is to try to get it waived, the interview waived, to get approved without interview. Now, if this is your first time, like all the way at the beginning with an interview, even with 751 interview, don't be scared. Okay, don't be scared. At least with our representation, can I guarantee results? But based on our experience, you're gonna feel way more comfortable with peace of mind. Okay. Uh, Vanessa, what's up? Your homies told you about me, and you went elsewhere. How dare you? Just kidding. No, it's all good. I understand. Uh, I understand. There's a bunch of lawyers out there, but look, y'all. If you want to know, number one, we have a physical office. I'm the real deal. I'm a lawyer. I know I'm not really dressed like one. I don't got the tie, but anyone can wear a tie. Okay, I'm just trying to relax while I answer your questions. Okay, but number two, we because we have physical office, we have a Google profile page. We have two, one in Dallas, one in Houston. The main office is in Houston, so don't go up in Dallas and expecting to see me or one of my team members. One of my friends, colleagues allows me to use their office. Okay, so I go there from time to time. But if you want to see me, I am based primarily in Houston, Texas. Um, let's see what else to share with you. Number three, we are not here to pressure you. We're here to make sure that you understand everything possible in the pathway to get your legal status, because not everyone has an easy as a piece of cake. It's not that easy for most of y'all, unfortunately. Um, Now, with that being said, Damini Hawajak. Hawajak? Do I think Hawaii has shorter AOS processing time than other places? I would think so, but you know what? Let me see if I can pull that out real quick for you. What's that? AOS, so 45. Let me pull that up. I-45, Hawaii. I'm just going to pick Honolulu here. It's okay. It's all right. Uh, 15 and a half months. You're on TikTok, so you can't see it, but 15 and a half months in Honolulu, at least. If you have another location specifically, let me know and I'll look it up. But in the meantime, Smart Castle, do I do employment-based petition? Yes, we do. Just generally speaking, the only case types I can just tell you right off the bat that we don't handle are asylum. If you're seeking asylum, if you want to sue the government because you have an asylum case pending for too long, then we do help with that. Or humanitarian parole, we don't help with that, just because it's just there's no like processing time schedule, so it's just very difficult in that sense. Cookie, kindly read yours. Okay, Cookie, I'm gonna try to find yours. Cookie, do y'all what's y'all's favorite cookie, by the way? Tip treats, or what's the other one that's like huge? That's just way too big. Let's say Cookie. You might have to copy and paste because I'm trying to scroll down and I may have missed it. I know I missed a lot of y'all. I apologize. Someone asked, add your name. You didn't put your name on there. What do you do if you can't get a police certificate? I don't know. You're gonna have to get one. Fortunately, we haven't come through that situation. Um, but you want to check your Department of State visa. There's like a reciprocity chart, a list of documents. So take a look at that. If you can't get a police certificate, maybe you can get something else. Which, by the way, we can take over cases. So Let's see. Oh, USCIS. There's a subreddit on USCIS. That's funny. I need to check that out. What happens after dismissal, Jenny? I think you asked. Okay, Cookie, I found your question. What happens after dismissal? I think yours was about the immigration case. I mean, immigration court case. So after dismissal, you're gonna have to contact USCIS. I don't remember your exact scenario. Do you need to file a waiver or not? But after a court case, USCIS is not going to do the work, pick it right up and do it for you. They won't know that your court case got dismissed. So, especially in those scenarios, I highly recommend authorizing a immigration law firm to help you. Okay. Especially after all that wait time on the court cases and finally got dismissed, you don't want to wait an extra 5 years. That could have been prevented. Cookie's question is, after how long should you apply after denial on B1? Apply for what? Apply for B1 again? Before you apply for B1, if that's what it is, then you really need to get your ducks in a row. That's my nice way of saying it. Like, why do you want a B1? Maybe you have an idea, but do you have a significant other? You don't have to tell me on the live show, but that'd be important to know. It'd be important for the visa officer to know exactly what you want, a pretty good idea what you want to do in America. Um, Maybe you have other family members there. Maybe they have people you want to visit over there. You know what I mean? So is it just general tourism? It's good to have an itinerary to some extent. Like maybe not like day to day or hour by hour, but maybe every couple days, like what you plan to do, especially if it's tourism. If you go in there just saying, I'm just speculating, but if you just go in there and say, I want a visitor visa, of course you apply it online, go to interview, and they're like, well, what do you want to do there? And you're kind of like not answering them. That's a red flag if I were an officer, because tourism, usually people want to do tourism. They have a pretty good idea what you want to. You should have a decent idea. Not to mean you need to be one of those folks like my wife that has a spreadsheet. Um, so thankful for that ability. I can't do that as well as she can, but you know, you want to have a game plan. Okay, you need to have a strategy, which is one of those examples that I'm going to do a webinar about certain topics. So if you're interested in a certain topic that, especially I'm not able to answer on a live show, like tourist visa or any other immigration benefit, send us a DM on your respective platform. Tell us your name, your topic you have in mind for us. We greatly appreciate it, and your email, and we'll email you an invitation. Stella Bella, what's up? Is there a way to find out if your 751 and N400 is in the same field office? Well, if you haven't moved, it's supposed to be the same field office. Eventually, 751 goes to the service center first. I believe that's what I checked 30 minutes ago, and then it gets trickled down to the field office eventually. Okay, if it needs to be. All right. Hopefully, I answered your question. Quinny Paddock. Is the 765 a must for marriage green card? Um, Even though the processing times are faster than before, like if we're still tracking 2023 case processing, which we still are, fortunately, I would say that's average time 5 months or less. Like the fastest we've had is 2 months, but traditionally it's 12 months. So with that being said, you know, if while you're waiting for the actual residency to be approved, you may want to have have the temporary work permit applied in the meantime. And you might be asking this because there's an extra cost for the 765. I'm looking at this chart. I can't see exactly which one is going to charge extra, but it looks like it's going to be 520 extra for the work permit. Yeah, 520 it looks like. So you have to might be worth it to you to do that. For some people, it might not matter. If you're chill, you might not need it. But let's see. Okay, so hopefully that helps you out. Um, it looks like for travel document, if you want to apply while before at the same time, that's an extra 630. So I need to double check that pricing because that's what it shows here. But their intent behind this processing, this new fee schedule, is to have it all those fees for those applications, 765 work permit and 131 travel document, to be all charged. So you would have to pay for it. Okay, in addition to the 485 and 130 application fees. Hey, Dark Sugar. Hopefully you're able to schedule a time. Oh, that's the question you asked the lawyer. He said no. Yikes, that's crazy. Hey, Sandy. Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. Now, Sandy says never even try to bring in a spouse over here without immigration attorney. Too many forms, changes. I mean, yeah, it's just in addition to forms, it's just a crap ton of stuff that goes on. I hope I answered your question. I saw your question before. And Sandy says, no, it's pricey, but they'll work with you. Well, yeah, I mean, hopefully every attorney is good in that sense, but here's the deal. Here's what we're different about. Okay, we will file your case timely. It depends on the service level you pick. The light, we have light, pro, or max. I've had clients tell me after the fact that said, John, you need to tell people that we accept payment plan. And so we accept payment plan. Some law firms, come to find out, charge everything up front, or they say like, I'm just gonna make it up, okay? This platform, don't give me a hard time. If it's 5000, for example, they say half of it is upfront, okay, when you sign with us or with a law firm, and then the other half is the time that you file. That's a lot of at the beginning. We don't do it like that, okay? You pay a deposit with us, and then there's a monthly payment each month, okay? And we'll work with you. Okay, especially if we know a certain case is going to take longer. We'll work with you. Appreciate those comments. Johan, been waiting 7 months for work permit. Is there an issue? Depends on your case type, but when it gets to 12 months, then may consider filing a lawsuit. Okay, so yeah, that's the other key difference to share with y'all. If you're, thanks for staying on. We do have different service levels, like I mentioned, light, pro, and max service levels, and so we actually line item what we do, like every step of the case. So you know whether we're going to help you with that or not. Most of the time, we help you with that. Like pro plan, for example, pro service level, we're not, we, although we do provide uh, opportunity to schedule a meeting with one of our attorneys for interview prep, we also have a series of videos to jumpstart that conversation. Okay, so you could might have some questions just from those videos, and then but that's all. You gotta be a client to get access to that, right? And another thing, so with all that being said, though, but some of y'all may not want an attorney at the interview, right? So I get that. So that's the pro plan. No attorney at the interview, but we give you the resources beforehand. Whereas max plan, max service level, we file your case in 30 days and we prep you and we show up to interview. Okay. Now the travel fee, one night hotel fee if needed, which is most likely, then you have to pay for that extra separate. Okay. Um, but anyway, hopefully that helps because if you're interested in contacting us about services, it's important that you need to know this. So that's just part of our process to be as transparent as possible. Uh, Myra, how much is consult? We actually have it for this amount as a hold fee. You show up, we refund you that amount. So hopefully that helps. Mike loves learning. Thanks for tuning in. Unfortunately, I don't have knowledge about expat for legal status outside the US, which there's definitely channels on here on TikTok that offer, I'm sure YouTube as well, that offer those tips for expats from America to somewhere else. Myra, would advanced pro for DACA recipients speed the process by citizen brother age 25? I think if I understand your situation correctly, you're saying your brother, what, you have DACA, but your brother is a citizen filing for you? Is that what's going on? So the F4 preference family preference category. Unfortunately, if that I mean if that's what you're talking about, no, that having DACA by itself does not speed up your family preference situation with your brother, your U.S. citizen brother. Okay, okay, you said yes. Yeah, unfortunately not. It doesn't shorten the time on the visa bulletin. Okay, I wish that'd be nice. It would be nice if there was an easy button like expedite, but no, there's not. There is premium processing. That's for the change of status application or premium for employment-based cases, but not for family-based. Imagine some of y'all can afford it, some of y'all can't. But man, if USCIS truly wanted money, they would charge premium processing for family-based cases. Except know this: even if they allowed that opportunity, they most likely can't handle it. Okay, they don't. I don't think they have enough personnel to process cases faster. So when you see your status online says actively being reviewed, it's most likely a piece of paper or your package that's just gently next to them. Okay, next to them. Like they may have just touched it one time and say, okay, actively reviewed, but it doesn't really mean reviewed. Okay, so most likely will take several months. Now, keep in mind, if you're filing yourself, it's you just need to know you do it correctly, obviously, but you follow all the instructions online. If you don't have time for that, you might want to give us a call. Go to our profile page. Okay, you know how to contact us now. Fill out answer a few questions on there, and we'll get you started. Okay, our team will pre-qualify you. Myra, with Advanced Pro, wouldn't that help? Advanced Pro helps with um, the legal to show legal entry. Okay, you after you get approved, you actually have to travel and come back. So even if you step in Canada for like a day or an hour, come right back, then hypothetically get that legal entry. But that doesn't speed up a case that's family preference. Okay, that doesn't speed up the priority date because you mentioned a brother, citizen brother. Can Mamsie? Oh wait, let me go back up. Gem and Unruly Queen. What determines which field office your case will be sent to? Now, if you're referring to a field office, that's based on your location. So if you're like in the suburbs of Houston, you're gonna go to the Houston field office, which is northeast Houston off of Greens Point Road or Greens Road. But if you're talking about service center, it's kind of weird. They're going to change the process if they haven't already. I think they mentioned April 1st. They're going to change it to where you mail the cases lockbox, where they scan everything, and then it's going to go flow down maybe to the service center. And then after that, if there needs to be a physical, like in-person interview, then it's going to go to the field office. But for service center, um, even if you live in California, that doesn't mean your case is gonna go to California Service Center. Even if you live in Texas, Nebraska, Potomac, which is the Washington D.C. area, that doesn't or Vermont, that doesn't mean just because you live in those states that your case is gonna get sent to those service centers. It's allegedly randomly assigned. Um, Florida. What's up in Florida? What is? Oh, you're in Florida. I don't know which field office is better in Florida per se, timing wise. But there's probably Miami, Orlando, Jacksonville, Tampa. I think they have one. uh, she's that girl, 33. Can you get advanced pro if you came on that inspection? Yeah, you can, but just depends who's sponsoring you. What's the scenario like? U.S. citizen spouse, you can, or if you have DACA, TPS, you can, but not everyone can get it. All right, folks. I have now reached 2:11 p.m. Central Time. I gotta charge my phone now. I gotta take a break, drink some water. Thank you so much for joining live. I really appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for your trust. I gotta get ready for my team retreat tomorrow. So apologies in advance. If you call in tomorrow and we don't answer, we're probably gonna be in retreat until 2:30, 3 o'clock Central Time. Okay. It's just an opportunity for our team to just check in, make sure we get our processes, systems correct, or if there's a way that we can make it better for you. Okay. Thank you so much. You all have a great one.